I'm going to go to every road game, no matter what, like whether I'm playing or not.
A bombshell has just shaken the basketball world. Caitlin Clark, the rising star who's redefined the WNBA spotlight, is reportedly stepping away from the game. The announcement comes on the heels of a stunning incident that few could have predicted now. The question is why? Was this the result of growing friction behind the scenes, relentless outside criticism, or something far more personal? What's clear is that the reaction has been immediate. Fans are shocked. Teammates are left in silence, and the league is scrambling for answers. Tonight, we break down the real story behind Caitlin Clark's stunning decision to walk away from professional basketball. WNBA is standing on shaky ground, and all eyes are on Caitlin Clark. If she were ever to step away, the shockwaves would be felt far beyond Indianapolis. They'd ripple across the entire sports world. It wouldn't just derail the Indiana fever. It would strike at the very heart of the league's commercial momentum, leaving millions of fans stunned and heartbroken. At just 22 years old, Clark has already become much more than a player. Wearing her now iconic No. 22, she's the spark that revived the fever, the face of a franchise that had nearly lost hope. Since the league's launch in 1997, few rookies, if any, have reshaped the game as quickly as she has. Her stats read like those of a seasoned veteran: nearly 20 points a night, over 8 assists, and close to 6 rebounds per game. And in 2024, she didn't just put up numbers, she dragged Indiana out of a 7-year playoff drought, delivering their first postseason appearance since 2016. But Clark's influence can't be measured on the scoreboard alone. What she's done off the court, from sparking record crowds to driving national conversations, may prove to be her biggest legacy yet. Indiana called Caitlin Clark's name on draft night. The landscape changed. Ticket sales didn't just climb, they skyrocketed by more than 400%. The demand was so overwhelming that the Fever could no longer play in smaller venues. Instead, every game shifted to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where sellouts quickly became the new normal. The surge wasn't confined to the arena. On television, Clark turned routine matchups into must-see events. Games that once drew a few 100,000 viewers suddenly crossed the million mark, with some broadcasts topping 2 million, numbers women's basketball had never seen before. It felt like Clark had flipped a switch, transforming the WNBA into more than a league. She made it a cultural phenomenon, and the corporate world didn't hesitate to join in. Sponsorships poured in, many designed with her star power at the center, as brands rushed to align themselves with the league's newest icon. The standard, small-scale sponsorships women's sports had grown accustomed to. They were massive, game-changing revenue streams, new financial lifelines that only appeared once Caitlin Clark arrived in Indiana. Less than one season, she accomplished what decades of marketing efforts failed to do. She turned the WNBA into must-see television. Clark wasn't just lifting the Fever, she was elevating the entire league, reshaping its economic foundation, and redefining its place in the sports world. And she did it in record time. Proof that sometimes one player doesn't just change the game, she changes the game's position in culture itself. But with all that power came pressure. The question now is, what unseen forces could have driven Clark to this breaking point, and how might those same pressures reshape her legacy? What's undeniable is the surge she's created. Ratings are soaring. Merchandise sales are breaking records. Media outlets that once treated the WNBA as an afterthought are now giving it primetime coverage. Thanks to Caitlin Clark, the league has become impossible to ignore. In just months, Caitlin Clark has gone from rookie sensation to global sports icon, which is why even the faintest whispers of her leaving don't sound like rumor. They feel like an earthquake waiting to hit. But what could push a star of her magnitude to even consider walking away from the very sport she's electrified? The answer may lie in the invisible weight that comes with sudden, historic success. For Clark, the leap from college freedom to the unforgiving world of professional sports has meant more than facing tougher defenders. It's meant stepping into a business machine filled with restrictions most fans never see. Even with Clark's seismic impact, the WNBA still operates under an outdated salary cap. The top earning potential for any player sits at around $250,000 a year, a number that looks strikingly small compared to the millions her name, image, and presence likely to generate for the league. Like every first-year contract in the WNBA comes with built-in restrictions. Team options and rules around restricted free agency are meant to protect franchises, but for players they can feel like handcuffs. In leagues like the NBA or NFL, frustration can often lead to trades, renegotiations, or a quicker path to free agency. For Caitlin Clark, the path is far narrower, even if she felt boxed in or undervalued. Her ability to move or reset her situation is locked behind rules that were written long before her arrival. The current collective bargaining agreement, designed in a different era of the league, never accounted for what it would mean to have one player completely transform women's basketball's commercial future. That's created a quiet but glaring tension. On one side, there are the sellouts, the record ratings, and the tidal wave of sponsorships tied to Clark's name. On the other, there's a financial framework that caps her earning potential at a fraction of what she brings in. And the gap, isn't only about money, it's about recognition, freedom, and how value is defined in women's sports, which raises the ultimate question. Will Caitlin Clark challenge the very system that has built her fame, or could she walk away entirely? Legal experts say this dilemma isn't unique, it's the same crossroads faced by stars in every league once their market power outpaces their paycheck. But in the WNBA, where the maximum salary is dwarfed by what Clark generates in ticket sales, TV rights, and corporate deals, the mismatch has never been more glaring. Asterisk becomes even more glaring when you consider Clark's impact compared to her peers. While her presence drives ticket sales, spikes TV ratings, and keeps her jersey at the top of the charts, she's still bound to the same pay scale as everyone else. For Clark, that gap isn't just about numbers on a contract, it's a daily reminder that the system was never designed for a player of her magnitude. But beyond money, there's the human toll. Professional basketball wears down more than just the body, it weighs on the mind. Clark faces a spotlight unlike almost any athlete in women's sports history. Every move she makes, every pass, every shot, every stray comment is instantly analyzed, magnified, and debated by fans, critics, and endless social media chatter. And when the game ends, the spotlight doesn't. It follows her everywhere. To thrive under that kind of pressure requires more than talent. It takes relentless mental strength, the kind that even the greatest stars can struggle to maintain over time, which is why the whispers of other options are growing louder. Beyond US borders, opportunities exist that could lure even the brightest American talent. Europe, in particular, has become a destination for women's basketball stars chasing both higher pay and a different lifestyle. And powerhouse leagues across Spain, Turkey, and Russia, contracts often dwarf WNBA salaries. Teams not only pay more but also provide perks like housing, travel accommodations, and added benefits that make life on the road far less punishing. The arenas are packed, the competition is fierce, and the overall quality of life can be significantly better than what the WNBA currently offers. Asterisk, the contract Caitlin Clark signed in 2024 was never built for leverage. Like every WNBA rookie deal, it came wrapped as an opportunity but structured like a cage. Team options bind her to the franchise. Restricted free agency blocks her from testing her true value. And the system itself is carefully designed to keep player movement under tight control. For Clark, that means no power to renegotiate, no ability to force a trade, and no chance to chase a bigger payday elsewhere. In the WNBA, freedom isn't a right, it's a privilege granted to only a few, and certainly not rookies. The collective bargaining agreement that enforces these rules was signed years before Clark's arrival, long before anyone imagined one player could completely transform the economics of women's basketball. Now, she finds herself locked inside terms that not only undervalue her, but fail to even recognize the new reality she created. Meanwhile, the league reaps the rewards of what's become known as the Clark effect. Attendance records shattered, merchandise flying off shelves, sponsorship revenue skyrocketing to levels never seen before, and yet, the player at the center of it all remains stuck in a contract that offers none of the flexibility, rewards, or agency her male counterparts enjoy in other leagues. Legal analysts point out that this imbalance has long been a theme in women's sports. But Clark's case isn't typical, it's unprecedented. She isn't just a star player, she's the brand, the storyline, the profit margin. And as the weight of that reality sinks in, one question keeps echoing louder. Why should the brightest talent in the game stay silent while everyone else gets paid? That single question could ignite a battle much bigger than basketball itself. By the summer of 2025, Caitlin Clark was no longer just the Indiana Fever's star, she was their identity. Her name had become shorthand for the WNBA's resurgence, her image a constant in commercials, interviews, and highlight reels. The spotlight may have looked dazzling from the outside, but inside it burned with an intensity few could withstand. Caitlin Clark's command of the game and natural leadership had long hinted at a future in coaching, a role where her vision could guide teams without the endless grind of playing. But for now, she was still in uniform, expected to deliver elite performances while also serving as the league's ambassador, spokesperson, and symbol of progress. It wasn't just about leading a team, it was about carrying an entire movement, and with that came pressures no box score could capture. Every word she spoke was dissected. Every game became a referendum on the WNBA itself. Even a quiet night on the floor sparked headlines questioning her health, her happiness, or her future. For Clark, the mental toll was constant, leaving little room to simply enjoy the game she loved. Inside the Fever organization, the Clark era had reshaped everything. Ticket offices, sponsorship teams, and media departments revolved around her. The shift revitalized the franchise but also introduced new challenges. When one player becomes a gravitational center of an entire operation, relationships can bend under the weight. Teammates, coaches, and even executives were all adjusting to the new dynamic that raised questions for Clark. Did the Fever's leadership share her long-term vision? Did the coaching staff understand the need to manage not just her minutes, but her mental load. Was the culture built to support her or merely to capitalize on her fame? She knew chemistry wasn't a throwaway word. It was the invisible glue that kept a season from splintering under pressure. And while her accolades piled up, maintaining the balance between her individual spotlight and the team's collective identity was becoming harder with every sold-out arena, every ratings spike, and every new sponsorship deal. Clark wasn't just part of the fever anymore. She was the fever. She wasn't just part of the fever. She was the fever. Leading under those conditions required far more than talent on the court. It called for political savvy, emotional intelligence, and an organizational structure strong enough to share the burden. Yet in Clark's eyes, that support didn't always measure up to the weight of what she was being asked to carry.